prioritize democracy, security cooperation, economic integration, and institutional credibility. And that's the latest from Jambo Newsroom. I'm Andrew Bainey.
To better protect children
and vulnerable adults in Scotland, the law has changed.
from the 1st of July, if you work or volunteer with children
or protected adults in a regulated role, it will be a criminal offence to not be a member of the Protecting Vulnerable Group scheme,
sometimes known as the PVG scheme.
Whether you're a home help for the elderly
or a coach for a kids' football team, you'll need to sign up.
Find out if this applies to you
at disclosure.gov.scot.
You are listening to Jambo Radio Scotland, online, on your smart speakers and on DAB digital radio in Edinburgh and Glasgow. You can download the Jambo Radio app on Google Play and App Store. Now, it's time for our conversations with inspirational individuals in Scotland and beyond. This is a moment with Sade and Enoch.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Moments with Sade and Enoch. Sade is not here today, so we've got the wonderful Juliet with us, and we've got our amazing guest who will be unpacking so much knowledge with us today, Eloho. And the color coding for today, Eloho, is yellow, which is on brand with Jambo Radio. You can't plan these things, right? But before we go. A lot of us have felt unseen. I'm sure a lot of us can relate with this, where we're putting in a lot of effort, maybe at work, maybe at home, or wherever it is we play our part in society, and we still don't get that feeling that we're being appreciated or we're being seen. And Eloho will share her story about being unseen and the journey she's been on to sort of overcome that. And I've been speaking to her before we went live, and I've just been learning so much from her. So hopefully on the show today, for those that are listening, there will be an opportunity and lots of opportunities to learn and also join us. On that note, you can join us on the show today. You can call 0141 530 2787, or you can send us a WhatsApp on 0745 990 6822.
And if you're on social media, you can also message us on Facebook at Jambo Radio Scotland. If you're on Twitter, it's Jambo Radio 1. If you like IG, it's jamboradio.scotland. You can also send us emails at info@jamboradio.co.uk. We'd love to hear your comments and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, sometimes we get into a new space. Sometimes we're coming with confidence, right? So, for example, when I came from Nigeria, I came into the UK with the confidence of, I'm just going to study hard, get a good grade, join a firm, and work my way up to CFO. That was generally my plan as a 17-year-old then. I was just like, bang, bang, bang. It was arranged. And then I came into the UK and I got slapped down very quickly. A reality set in. But then what that could then do especially for those that are going into a new space, maybe a new country, a new city, a new career, a new home, a new something, what that can do is you've got two options. You can either push back and fight, or you can just settle and just, accept and, go into this unseen mode. And, that is the journey some people have been on. And fair to say, maybe Eloho has been on some of that journey, and she'll be unpacking some of that with us today.
Mm-hmm. So, Eloho, in less than 30 seconds, can you tell us who you are without telling us what you do for work? So just who is Eloho?
Oh, wow. Without telling you what I do for work, that's hard. But very quickly, I like to refer to myself as the voice for the overlooked, an encourager, a bridge builder as well. So is that 10 seconds? Or do you want me to? 30. Do you want me to go on?
Yeah. Keep going.
So I like to describe myself as a bridge builder, an encourager, the voice for the overlooked, helping people like me who have felt rejected, who have felt unseen, who have felt like they don't matter, helping them to feel confident again, helping them to stop doubting their potentials, and just go for the things that they have been created to be, to do, and to have. So
that's impressive.
That's
bridge builder. I've not heard that one
bridge
before.
Builder, I
think I'm nicking that one. I'll start calling myself bridge builder. Well, fantastic. And I'm always fascinated by names, right? So your name is Eloho.
Yeah.
what does Eloho mean, and if it has a meaning, and
Yeah.
what part of the world does it come from?
I love my name so much because it means prosperity.
Oof.
Yes, yes,
I think
I love it.
I think I'll do that name too.
I love my name so much, and it's from Delta State in Nigeria.
Okay, so
Yes.
Delta State
Isoko,
in
precisely,
Nigeria.
yeah,
Okay, okay, fantastic. Funny you said Delta. So for TBSA this year, Sade was asking me just
Yeah.
yesterday or day before yesterday, like, have you decided or have you thought about what you're wearing for TBSA? And I was thinking, I don't know. I've worn cute.
Yeah.
I've worn Agbada.
Yoruba, yeah.
So I'm like, where do you
maybe
go from there?
Maybe you should go Delta. Oh yeah.
So the reason I brought this up is I was not like, I was thinking maybe I go to another African country to start moving through Africa.
Okay. Yeah.
So then I checked the Zulu clothing. I saw it and I was like, let's bring it back to Nigeria. so I'll probably try Zulu another time, but I think it's too late now to try and combine Zulu with something. When we're thinking of bringing it back to Nigeria, the first thing that came to mind was Delta.
Yes.
Benin.
Oh no,
Okay.
our culture is very rich.
Yep. So you could
With
be
all
seeing
the beads,
me.
the hat.
Yeah. So I could be rocking up
That's
in some Delta wear at
That'd be
TBSA this year. So
nice. Okay.
look out.
Expo for
look
me.
out.
So let's start with your journey, Eloho. Like, can you take us back to I think it was 2006 you moved, yeah?
Yeah.
So how was it? Like,
Moved from the UK? I mean,
no,
moved from.
to the UK.
Moved
Moved to
from
the UK.
Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, to the UK.
Oh my goodness. So we had, just before we moved, I had started 2 different businesses, right? One, an NGO working with communities to help them develop, right? So that was one. And secondly, I had set up a cyber cafe to empower young children. At that time, back in the day, computers or internet.
That was a big
I'd
thing.
set that up. I was doing some trainings. I was working with children anyway. Part of what the NGO did was to empower young children. So we were doing all of that. And then we had to travel because my son needed surgery. So we had to travel. And then we traveled, we did surgery, came back.
Traveled to
the UK, sorry. We had to
Okay.
leave Port Harcourt. We're living in Port Harcourt. We got to London, did surgery and all of that. And guess what? I said, I will never step my foot in this country again. It's so boring. They are so uptight. I love my country, Nigeria. So we went back to Nigeria. Okay. I thought you said you would never be here. And a year or so after that, my brother-in-law sent a message to my husband to say, oh, there's this opportunity. Would you like to go for it? My husband, he as well was not interested. He was like,
What was the opportunity?
I think it was something to do with engineering. I can't even remember all of the details. So, he said, you go ahead. So I went, I got all of the documents that we needed.
Okay.
And in 2 weeks, everything was approved. What? How?
That's fast.
Exactly. So at that point, I knew that
It was meant to be.
it was meant to be.
it's time.
It's time. So we came to the United Kingdom, London precisely. And I remember my son, who's 21 now, he turned 3 the day after we arrived.
Okay.
And so first shock of my life, I'd been running my own business, so to speak. I was doing well. I hadn't released any albums then, but I was in choir. So I came with all that, ginger and zeal, like, more. I was hit, I had to look for a job. I had to look for an admin job. And so I think I worked in London then somewhere called Morrison Construction as an admin staff. But then I was struggling with leaving my child because, he was still a baby then. Leaving my child and going to work. My husband was working as well. It didn't sit down well with me. I left that job and then I started to work with a church as their admin staff as well. So I did that. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I got that flexibility. But then my husband now got a job in Aberdeen.
Okay.
It then meant that,
You had to move.
we had to move. But we didn't move immediately. He had to come in, settle. And so after a few months, Nathan and I now moved to Aberdeen and joined.
So how long were you in London for?
6 months.
6 months, okay.
So we're there for about 6 months. And so we got to Aberdeen. Oh, I just fell in love with, I'm telling you, even though everyone
Wow.
was grey,
Yeah.
but there was just something about it that was different from London. London is hustle and bustle. I just didn't like that life. And came into Aberdeen. I was like, okay, now is my time, because I've been working, Now is my time to just chill, become a lady of leisure, and just enjoy. There was this place Nathan and I used to go for a walk. Greenery. I loved all of that.
Okay.
Before you knew what was happening, my husband lost his job. I was like, no, I came here to rest. It then meant that I had to start looking for a job.
Okay.
So when I was working in Nigeria, I worked with an NGO before I started my own NGO, but I did some work with Schlumberger.
Okay.
And so when I registered with an agency and they gave me 3 different companies who were looking for admin, I said I want to work with Schlumberger because there's already
That's
history,
an oil and gas
the oil and gas.
Yeah.
So I worked as an admin for Schlumberger for about 5 years, and I was looking to progress
That was
my
in
career.
Aberdeen, yeah?
That was in Aberdeen. I was looking to progress my career, but all of the interview, everybody was saying no. In that process of time, I had twins, right? So I went back to work and I was struggling a lot. Mind you, while I was working, I felt isolated in that organization. And I remember I used to call my mother every Saturday to whine, to complain, to cry how unfriendly this place is. I came in with so much hope and expectation.
Yeah.
But there was one lady who was really, really nice to me, Jackie, and we're still friends, still date. So anyhow, I worked there and had my twins in 2011, went back to work. Oh my goodness. I asked for part-time. They wouldn't give me part-time job. I had to still work full-time. The only thing they said they could do was I could work on a Friday, half a day on Friday.
Okay.
So I was doing that. And you know how this country's childcare cost and everything.
After a while, it didn't make sense.
Exactly. It didn't make
Especially when it's
sense.
twins.
It didn't make sense at all. But I think what finally broke it was one of the twins fell ill. And I had to be away from work for 42 hours or something, or 72, I can't remember. As soon as I was getting back to work, the other twin decided that, okay, I'm going to be ill as well. So I had to take time off. And then my boss was just going on about it. And I said, you know what, I want to have a meeting with you. I don't feel supported. And something has got to give. It's not going to be me or my family. So I'd rather let go of this job, And at that time, I had been, I think, I had applied for several jobs, even within the organization to be promoted. There were lots of opportunities, but I would not sacrifice my family, my children, because I wanted to make money and then go and pay someone to look after my children. So I left work in 2013, and ever since then I've not gone back to any full-time role because things just took a different turn at that time. Before I left work, I had started to organize concerts. One thing I didn't say was, while I was feeling isolated, the only thing I knew was music. I believe that music cuts across. There's power in music. So I thought, why don't you just start organizing concerts, bringing people together, and just have fun generally. But I soon realized that it wasn't just about the music. People needed a place where they felt that they mattered, where they felt like they belonged and their voice mattered. So I now took on the concerts as a job, planning with all stakeholders, getting together, having breakfast meetings with the team, just giving them that sense of belonging before we hit the final stage. So in a nutshell, from 2006 to 2013, that's what happened when I left work. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. So I was going to ask about that initial sense of isolation, but I think you already answered it because you mentioned that music.
Yes,
helped
music
you
really
to
helped.
cope.
Yeah.
Apart from music, was there anything else that could have, just alleviated the stress or helped you to find your footing?
Yeah, I think what could have helped, and that's what I don't want to use the word preach, but that's what I am passionate about right now. I always tell people that if I had coaching, mentoring or mentorship when I first came, I probably would not have felt as isolated as I did.
Okay.
I probably would not have made all of the mistakes that I made. So coaching, mentoring would have helped me a lot, but I had to navigate the system myself. I had to, generally just hustle to be able to belong to this new environment where I have found myself. Yeah.
I was thinking you were going to do a plug-in there. The BPU mentorship.
Well, now you say it. Well, definitely, if you're listening, so and that's the beauty of it, right? Some of the challenges. So I came to the country around the same time you came in. So some of the challenges we faced then, there genuinely wasn't any solution at that time.
Yeah.
However, if you're coming into the country in 2025 or you're coming into the country around now, there's a lot of support. You talked about coaching. There's a lot of coaching options. Some of them you can even get for free. Mentorship. There are a lot of mentorship platforms out there.
I do a lot of mentorship.
We've got one at BPU. It's called Paired by BPU. So again, you can find someone to mentor you in whatever area you want mentored. So. And I think that's the beauty of it around some of the challenges we faced. Folks don't necessarily need to go through it again. And for me, that's what frustrates me when I meet people
who are still
telling me and I'm thinking, you shouldn't be going through that. There's help. In our time, there was no help. You had to sort of figure it out by yourself. Yeah. But for you to get to that point where you felt invisible, you're feeling invisible every day.
Oh yeah,
right?
I still do sometimes.
Over time. So how did that come to be? Do you want to take us back in time? I know you've left in the story, at the point of the story you're at now, you're already in Aberdeen for 7 years or a few years, but can you take us back to what ate away at your confidence to the point where you almost started crouching just not to be seen?
Okay, so without taking you back to my childhood and all the things I suffered that, knocked back my confidence, one of the things that I felt, especially when I was at work, firstly, you are maybe the only one or two persons in that environment where you are the only African in there, right? Now in hindsight, though, I think it's because they didn't quite understand, not because they wanted to exclude me, but
as I always say, I want to believe most people don't wake up in the morning thinking I'm going to be horrible to someone today. Most people don't, but however, their actions and inactions ends up being horrible to someone.
And so, but being there when no one was speaking to you, no matter how you tried, they could just probably say hello and that's it. And so I just felt like I didn't belong in this place. No one sees me, no one gets me, no one understands me. So I resorted to putting headphones on my head because let's listen to music. Music is my safe space, But they even had a problem with that at some point. She's always on her headphones. I was like, well, you guys wouldn't speak to me, right? So being in that environment where I knew that I had so much to offer, I had so much to give, but nobody was inviting me to the table. So we're having conversations and nobody was like, Eloho, what are your thoughts? Yeah. What do you think? Nobody was doing that. And because I had suffered from, Enoch and I were having this conversation before, we went live. Because I had suffered all of these things, I then felt it was because I'm not good enough. That's why they're not inviting me to the table. So I started to I started to settle. I started to lose everything that made me, this amazing person that I am now. I started to lose all of that, and it took years of coaching. It took years of mindset work for me to get back to this point where I am now. So I think it was the fact that I wasn't being invited to the table, and I felt that it was because, it's like I felt I was being stereotyped. Oh, she probably doesn't have anything to say. I remember one of those days I was feeling so horrible. I was even crying, and I went to the photocopier, and I was just there standing crying, and I just heard a voice clearly to say, "You are special." I just heard that voice because I was beginning to feel like, I don't matter here. That's why music became my safe space, my outlet, because anytime I'm listening to music, anytime I'm singing, I just feel on top of the world.
Okay.
And it's interesting, right? So I'll take this slightly out of the room. I was just telling Eloho again before we went live that I was having, because sometimes I'm invited to speak at events or to people, right? So there's this organization, huge UK, very big UK organization. They've got this cohort of managers, female managers, and they are trying to build a program around them to get them, to push them up into senior leadership, right? Okay. And they were telling me on that prep call, because I'm going to be one of the people that will be going into power one of the sessions and speak to them, and they were telling me that when they asked the ladies, what are your challenges, 90% of them said confidence.
Yep.
And that got me thinking,
imposter
why
syndrome.
Why is that the case? Because I'm sure if you ask 100 men, 90 of them won't say confidence.
No, I wouldn't.
And then myself and Eloho were sort of trying to unpack it, and I could be wrong, I'm not a psychologist, but listening to Eloho and then just seeing how the society works, it got me thinking maybe it's the way we are as a society, where we push the boys. And we say, don't be scared, you can do it.
True.
You're the man of the house.
And then we talk the girls.
They are naturally powered to just go. Meanwhile, the girls are told, no, you shouldn't do that.
Be gentle.
No, be gentle. Look at your hair and all that. And then over time, they just crouch.
So
maybe that's where it comes from as a society, because I was thinking as well, like, what's my role in that as a dad and as a human being around how we speak to girls, especially young girls, because it starts from that age, right? We'll begin to beat everything out of them to just say, just try and blend in. Why are you speaking loud? Why are you doing that? Why are you painting your face? Why are you doing that? And all that. But so how did you begin the journey of overcoming that and wanting to be seen? When did that start? Or was there a moment? Or was it gradual?
I think it's been a gradual process, right? Because I like I said, I heard that voice clearly that said, you're special, right? And I mean, as a young girl, I will never forget the red shirt I had that said, you're somebody special. So I always knew that I was special. I always knew that I had something to give. I always knew that I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. I always knew that I wanted to make people happy, right? And so that's the thing I teach my clients now, like, it doesn't matter. You may feel like you're not good enough. You may feel like you don't have all the confidence. But as long as your why is strong, you can still do anything that you desire to do regardless. And that's what happened to me exactly, right? So I had this dream when I was doing my youth service that I would organize concerts. And in that concert, different things were happening. So I held on to that dream. I'm from a family who's into media, right? Nollywood movies. I tried 1 or 2 movies. I'm a movie star.
You need to tell us the name.
No, I'm not telling you.
Go and look for it in the Dumota.
Exactly. Weka, where's that
place? But I never wanted to go down that way. But I always knew that I wanted to do something with TV, radio, music. And so when I was going through what I was going through, when I was dealing with all of those conflicting thoughts, all those negativity in my head, all those lack of confidence, all those low self-esteem, imposter syndrome, I still knew that I had to do this work because I'm on an assignment, right? So I remember my dream, and then I share this dream with the organization where I was. I don't want to call the organization where I was. Okay. And the lead said to me, "You are not ready," shutting me down. Right? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, wow. And I believed I wasn't ready. And then I carried on for years. I had my twins, and I would wake up at night to feed them. And there was this deep hunger in me, this deep desire. You know, when you're carrying something, except you put that thing to birth, it's just like a pregnant woman, until she delivers that baby, there's this unrest. So I started having that unrest, and you know what I said? Regardless, I'm going to do it. I don't know how, but I'm just going to do this concert because I know that I've been given this assignment. So I called a few friends, did what I was supposed to do. Bam, good turnout. But imposter syndrome reared its head. Lack of confidence, low self-esteem reared its head. I couldn't even perform because I felt like my voice wasn't good. Let other people do the job. Right? So I'm really told there's no how you must see me anyway. But I wasn't being seen for the expert. Now I can call myself an expert. Yes, for what I bring to the table. Right? So I will do a brilliant job of organizing everything. But I start to sing and I'm like shaking. I'll manage, I'll do one song, and then I will go away and give the stage. So even the people around me now took that as the norm, such that when I now wanted to show up in all of my brilliance,
like, what do you want?
Exactly. It was a problem. Seriously, why are you doing that? You know, so
on the theme of music, you released an album.
Yes, so I then released an album.
Yep. And how did that feel?
It was good.
Yep.
Right? But I worked with a producer that is hardcore. Okay. So even he was pushing me, trying to get the best out of me. But I felt that you're trying to knock back my confidence again. Right?
That was what you perceived.
Yes, but obviously I knew that he was trying to bring the best out of me, you know. So I released that album scared. Would people accept this? Would it resonate with people? And I think it was from there that my healing began.
Okay, so before you go, let's plug the album. So is the album, where can we listen to it?
There are 2 albums actually. Okay. They are all on iTunes, every digital
Spotify and rest of it.
Everywhere.
So if we search for your name on Spotify, for example, so if your albums and everything will come out. Right,
the first one was called Arise.
Okay.
And the second one it's called Unrestrained.
Okay.
And that there's a story there, because with Arise, even my son, when they interviewed him, was like, Arise was, but Unrestrained is, yeah. Because at that point, I had grown.
Been on a journey.
I had been on a journey, right? So, but I think the thing that happened when I released Arise, and I heard people's feedback, comment, the positive ones, because there are always negative ones. Of course. I was like, wow, you mean it? Do you mean it? I don't see that.
You still didn't believe it?
I still didn't believe it.
Wow.
But hearing other people say it, I mean, from all over the world, people started to send me messages. I was like, oh, wow, there's something there. So it was there I began to like, you know, okay, Eloho, you have to get serious now. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You have to believe in the gift that you are, not just the gift that I have, because I am a gift. The person.
Yeah.
I mean, someone was telling me a few days ago who I'm working with on a strategy, and the person says, you have presence, but you need to own it.
Okay.
Right? So after all that feedback, I started to believe it more, but I was still, you know, treading carefully, because I didn't want anybody. Then I couldn't even listen to my own voice. I couldn't watch myself because I didn't want to see anything that would make me feel like, oh, this person is not good. But my healing began, my journey began. I grew from the first album. I said I wanted to do another album. And that second one, it was different. Even my outfit was different. I had ripped jeans, my hair was, and oh my goodness, when I released my album cover, you are now a sinner. You are not a Christian anymore. I was like, seriously?
Who was saying all that?
Oh, different people. Because they were used to this.
Yeah.
But that was me making a statement with that album to say no more lack of content.
Just
no more putting me in a box. I'm unrestrained. I can do whatever I want.
You can never turn back.
I can never turn back.
It will make sense.
It won't make sense. It won't make sense. So
Lovely.
Yeah.
So that was the journey with the albums. Unrestrained really helped me. Even though that year I released Unrestrained, I was hit again with so many things that could have just stopped me in my tracks. But every time I am hit with any one of those things, I go back to my why. Why are you doing
why
it?
Are you doing it? That's actually very, very important, because knowing why you're doing something gives you that energy to push further.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the concerts that you organize.
Yes.
Yeah. You seem happy. Immediately I mentioned concerts.
Enoch knows.
That's good. So even while you were organizing these concerts, you still didn't feel seen. How were you able to deal with those moments of, say, like, discouragement?
I think first thing I'll say is my joy really is bringing people together.
Okay.
I love for people to just come together.
A convener.
Yes, I'm a convener. I love to just give people a good time, whether I'm at the center of that or not.
Okay.
Right? So I did the concerts 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. COVID happened, we stopped, and thankfully 2 years ago we did it again.
Okay.
So it wasn't until 2019 that I actually, was it 2019 or 2018? I think it was 2019 that I actually, for the first time, stood tall to say, this is me. I'm fearless. And that was the title of the concert that year.
Okay.
There was someone in Aberdeen who came, and he was telling my friends on their way back that I didn't recognize that person on stage. But what happened? What changed? What helped me? I was saying to Enoch before we went live, I was going around the same circles over and over again. Why? Because I didn't understand my worth. I did not see my own value, and I felt like other people needed to validate me. Other people needed to give me that approval. And it was really, really bad. And so I got tired of just being in that place. I even went for counseling because I felt like I have a problem. Right? Mm-hmm. But even counseling didn't help me. I needed to work on my own mindset. I needed to work on my own self-confidence to believe again the gift that I am and what I carried. So I started to work. I was doing social media for artists. I was working, and then Muyiwa, who I was working with, introduced me to another person who's a coach. And that person now said, oh, I can coach you. I was like, I didn't even believe in coaches. I was like, please. But that coach said something profound to me. You are an eagle, but you're trying to fly with chickens.
That's heavy.
Eagles don't fly with chickens. Eagles fly at the top.
And they pick chickens off.
So I think the thing is, a lot of us women, going back to that story you told, a lot of us women don't see ourselves for the value that we bring. We don't see ourselves like, I'm somebody special. I know it. We always tone it down. Sometimes when people even pass you a lovely comment, oh, it's nothing. Why? Own it. Eloho, you're beautiful. Yes, I know. And that's why I tell my daughter now, Don't allow anybody come and tell you you're beautiful and then you're like, no. Tell them, I know. My mom tells me I'm beautiful. My dad tells me I'm beautiful. You know, so...
Yeah, the problem with some of us is nobody tells us, Enoch, you're handsome. So we have to tell ourselves every day, like, Enoch, you're handsome.
Yeah. So I think all of this helped me to begin to gain that confidence, to believe that I am worth much more than I have made myself, you know. And I mean, I was telling Enoch as well, it wasn't up until 2020. So I was on this journey where I was doing the mindset work. I was beginning to feel a lot better about myself. But it was in 2020 when I told my story. And that's the other thing. It's so important to tell your story.
Yeah.
Not from a place of a victim mindset, but from a place of someone who has evolved through the journey, through the process, because so many people can resonate with your story. When I wrote my book, You're Not Everyone's Cup of Tea.
I like the title
Yeah.
of the book.
You're not everyone's cup of tea. Stop doubting your potential. And that's what I was doing all along. And realizing that not everybody will like you, and it's okay.
Perfectly.
Not everybody will get it. It's fine. Not everybody will do business with you. It's fine. So I had to get to that point.
Okay.
And it was then I started, you know, okay. Like, I love taking photos. I've even mellowed down now a bit. I love taking photos. Why? That's a statement as well. I'm beautiful. That's why I'll take photos. But people don't know, oh, you just like photos. Leave photos for small children. I was like, no.
It's deeper than just the
It's
photo
deeper.
itself. Yeah.
It was part of my healing process as well.
It's acclamation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's acclamation.
You can still join us. You can call us on 0141 530 2787, and you can send us a WhatsApp on 0745 990 6822.
And if you're on social media, you can send us a message. It's Jambo Radio Scotland on Facebook. On Twitter, it's Jambo Radio 1. On Instagram, it's jamboradio.scotland. You can also send us emails, info@jamboradio.co.uk. We'd love to hear your comments and suggestions.
Yep. And, you know, going back to creatives, a lot of creatives, I won't say chase, but they seem to want validation.
Of course.
And recognition.
Yeah.
I think it goes with that territory,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
how do you cope and manage that as a creative?
Oh, there was one time that was all I was living for. And I'll be honest with you. I put out any piece of work. I want the whole world to comment, to like. And I realized I was just chasing. It was beginning to affect my mental health. And so the days that I didn't get that, I would feel like, oh,
You've not done enough.
I've not done enough. Something is wrong. And this and that. And, I had to, I wouldn't say physically, but I think one of the first things I started doing was unfollowing people that were triggering me, right? I started doing that.
So that's
then,
on social media.
on social media.
Okay.
I started doing that. Then again, I decided that I was going to put out content. I don't care. I'm not going to chase people, because I was even teaching my clients then. When you put out a content, you know, go to this person's page, like this person so that they'll come back to your page, share it here. I stopped doing all of that. It had to be intentional, you know. I mean, it's not as easy as I'm making it seem now, because people are there right now. But I had to do that. And it's helped me. I mean, it's helped me personally, like my mental health. It's fine. It's okay. You don't have to like my post. You don't have to comment. I will put it out anyway. You know, it's just like, I mean, even doing the radio show that I do, I don't know who's listening. I don't know if there are 10,000 or one person listening, but I made up my mind that I was not going to be chasing. I will show up for the one person like it's a million people I'm talking to.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that, Eloho. So you've mentioned during this conversation, you've mentioned how having like a strong why has kept you through the challenges. Do you want to share with us what that why is?
No, you have to pay me.
We can't afford you.
I was
Well, maybe
actually
Juliet can
expecting
afford you. Maybe Juliet can afford you. Some of us are just finding our feet in this UK. So,
No, I'll just give you a brief, right? My why really, apart from the main why of having my children look back someday and say my mom was a legend, right? Giving my children that sense that they matter, their voice matter, they belong, and they can do or achieve anything. I'll tell you something that happened. Should I? Yeah, I'll just say it.
go for it.
So my son's just graduated from Newcastle Uni.
Yep.
Okay.
And last week he texted me, Mom, I made a 2-2. I was like, congratulations. No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy because I felt blah. He went on and on. So I was being the motivational mom. Grades don't define you, son. Went on of that. And then I get back home because I was on the train. I'm going to appeal it. I was like, you want to appeal it? Yes, I will appeal it. And then 2 days ago, he comes to me. He shows me an email. I think he had emailed the school to say he wants to appeal the decision. And he brings the email to say, yes, they said he can appeal. And he says, Mom, what do you think? I was like, go for it.
Yeah.
I'll back you 100% all the way. Yesterday morning, I was having a meeting in the studio and I had someone in the kitchen. And when I went in, the person was like, I think your son was looking for you because he was shouting. You know, he didn't even have his shirt on. They gave him his 2-1.
Wow.
And he was screaming, Mom! So I want my children, one of my why is to build my children to that place, to empower them where they know that I deserve this.
Yeah.
I will go for it. You can't cheat me out of this. I'm not taking no for an answer.
Wow. And, you know, speaking of children, that then links into, I guess, the community we come from. You know, a lot of us are from the immigrant community and we've relocated to the UK.
Yeah.
We're finding our feet, trying to find our way in the professional space and experiencing gatekeeping as well, but not just within, not just in the wider society, but even within.
No, it's the way she laughed.
I've experienced gatekeeping too.
Yes, including within our community. And yeah, so speaking of experiencing, how have you dealt with that for those listening to this and maybe are experiencing it or that will experience it?
I will share something that happened when I first came to Edinburgh. You know, so we lived in Aberdeen for 10 years.
Okay.
Almost 10 years, and then moved to Edinburgh in 2016. And I knew that I still wanted to do concerts, right? I knew that I still wanted to do radio. I was volunteering with a radio station, but I had a vision, a dream about starting a radio station. Remember, I said I wanted to be in TV, media, not necessarily movie. And so I reached out to one of the, I don't know what they call them in Edinburgh, to say, okay, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we're going to be doing, and all that and all that. And they categorically told me, you chose the wrong city to come and do any of these. I was hurt.
What was the reason? On the basis of what?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could it be because I'm a woman? Could it be because I am this skin color? I don't know. Or could it be people like you don't do things like this? Or we are here, we've been doing this for years, and you think you can just come and do what we've been trying to do for years and we haven't succeeded? I felt broken. But then going back again to, why are you doing this? So I've got a why for everything. Really.
Okay.
Why are you doing this? I had a dream. God showed me clearly what to do. And so regardless, I started and found people who held my hand through the process. So one door may close, but there's several other doors that will open up for you.
Interesting.
I like the fact that when I want to ask a question, she's already touched on. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask about the people, like, who are those people that were in your life that sort of held you from not giving up when you had all these no's and some of those disappointments?
I mean, I've had several people. If I start to name them, we won't leave here today. But I've had several people who have spoken into my life, who have held my hands. Those times that I was in tears, those times that I'm not doing again. I mean, we started the radio station in 2017. Boom! Beautiful opening. You know how you first have when you first had your first child.
Energy.
Yeah, you have your first child. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's happy with you. And then 2-3 weeks down the line, the mom doesn't have anybody there, and that's why most women go into postnatal depression, right? Nobody's there, but she has that responsibility to give that child life, no matter who is there or not. So 1 year we started, everybody was there, booming. I had about 7 or so people in the studio live then. 1 year after, I was on my own. Why? What did I do? And then all of those feelings that I used to feel back previously, in the day, started coming, But there were certain people God brought in my life. Thank God for my husband. I mean, that guy suffered. Because I will call, I'm crying. I was like, Madam, I'm working, But I was in pain. I was lonely. I was hurt. I was upset. And then being the first, there's that pressure of you being the first to even start anything. People are wondering, is this going to succeed? In fact, somebody...
You don't have any template.
You don't have any template.
So you're the template.
Somebody even told me, Eloho, leave this your hobby thing. I think it's now time for you to go look for a proper job. Right? But there were other people, my husband, even my children, without them realizing. And then my big sister, oh, God bless that woman. She has listened to me every day for the past 8 years from Nigeria. Wow. Every single day, cheering me on. When I go live on Facebook, she's the first person there, cheering me on. I've had there was, when I released my album, there was someone I was introduced to who interviewed me on his show. I call him my Scottish dad now. He just embraced me, and always, sending words of encouragement. But I think what I want to just say here is, like I always say, when one door closes, God opens several other doors. So when all of the people we started the radio station left, at that point, I felt hurt, I felt bitter. But in my journey, I've come to realize that, their season was over.
Yeah.
Nothing personal. They're not bad people. I'm not a bad person. It's just that their season was over. But I found it hard to understand that then. And so when they all left, I remember my mentor said, so now we will know if you are in this for the long haul. So at that point, I had to become radio producer, radio manager, radio presenter, content creator, email marketer, social media. I had to be everything. Because this is, remember, when everybody leaves, when the woman gives birth, she nurtures her baby to life. This is my baby. I'm not going to allow my baby die because there's no one to help me with Omugo anymore. Yeah. I have to learn how to bathe that baby. Yeah. I have to learn how to cook for myself. So many people, too many people who have been there are still there till date. But I think one of my issues was I always was chasing after the ones that have gone. But I wonder how these other ones coped with me though, because they're like, but we are here. Are we not enough?
Yeah. And it's interesting. I was laughing when you said you've lost people and you try not to be bitter because our journey is very similar in the sense that we are doing a lot in the community. We're doing this and that. And over the years, I've come to learn that and again, this is something I'm teaching my children. So, for example, my son was complaining about a teacher, and I said, "Did that teacher ever teach you anything?" He said, "Yes." I said, "That's all you need to remember.
That's it.
Forget everything else.
That's it.
You know, remember the good, because the problem with us as humans is we are very good at remembering the bad. We forget the 99 good, and it's that one that we hold on to.
It's that one we'll hold on to.
So I think, so me personally, on my journey, I've just learned to just remember that good. Even if it's a bad or whatever that happened or whatever,
Change it.
just remember the good. But then we're going to enter into a quick fire round, because we want our listeners to get all the juice out from you in the next 9 minutes. So I know time has flown by, believe it or not. So what's been your proudest moment doing radio?
I think my proudest moment would be, first of all, setting up the radio station single-handedly, not having any technical know-how. I remember last year,
Like you're about to give me a second proudest moment.
when we got the license to be on DAB.
Fantastic. I'm guessing that must have been tough.
It was. I didn't even know. Yeah, because when we got the invitation, first of all, I was like, I thought these people were scam. Why are they asking me to come on, a multiplex? And then found out they were real, but we had to apply to Ofcom for a license, and there was someone who helped us with the application, and boom, I was like, oh wow, so it means what we're doing is credible.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so proudest moments. I remember we went for an outdoor festival, and Nathan was there with me, and he was telling somebody else, like, I'm so proud of my mom. She knows all these technical things. She does also. I think that's another proud moment, having my children witness me, do what I do, and learn from it.
All right, perfect. So your book, you're
not everyone's cup of tea.
What's the key message you wanted readers to get out of that book?
That they are okay.
Okay.
And they've got potential. Stop doubting those potentials.
Okay.
Be confident. Embrace your uniqueness. And just go for it. Not everybody will get you. That is okay. And I think that is it. Not everybody will get you. Not everybody will understand you. But it's still okay, because there are people who love chocolate, hot chocolate, coffee, juice. So.
And that's the thing again with, with the role you play in the community, and I guess that we both play, you quickly get to that point where you're like, it is what it is. Like, not everybody will like you. Once you get that,
it's still okay.
As long as you're doing what you have to do.
And it's not because you're a bad person or they are bad. They just don't get you, and they are doing their thing, you do your thing, and all that. And then the next question I was going to ask, again, quick fire, is for those that are still feeling invisible in their careers, what one word of encouragement do you have for them, or maybe 2 words?
Okay, so
we need to keep it very short and brief.
I think the most important thing is to recognize that you matter. What you carry is important.
Okay.
It may not be like the other person, but you have what you have. You know what you know for a reason. You just need to build that up. You need to believe in it and then develop it. But really, really, you matter, and you are amazing, really.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So let's just reflect, right? How has your, that attitude of yours, always showing up, always doing what you have to do, how do you think it's shaped you to become who you are today?
I think it has largely shaped everything, even the way I operate, because regardless of how I feel, regardless of how I am treated, I still show up, because how do I say this? There's one person that is just waiting for me to show up, for somebody like me. So I don't want to disappoint that person.
I'm going to take that from you today.
I don't want to disappoint that person, and above all, I don't want to disappoint God, who has given me this gift. So
we've got a tradition here where we've been throwing questions out for the last 54 minutes. So now, 56 minutes. Now you've got a chance, quick one, to throw a question at me or Juliet, but it has to be a quick one.
Oh Lord!
Do you have any question for us?
Oh boy!
And if you don't, it's fine. We can move on.
I'm trying to put my interviewer hat on now to ask. So, I mean, what this is for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you do with BPU and everything else. Why did you think radio was the next thing, or why did you add radio to that mix?
Yep. So it's that journey evolved, right? In the sense that myself and Sade at some point thought we've got so much story to share.
Right.
So we thought we can start sharing our story maybe on YouTube or whatever. But eventually we settled on radio, and we settled on Jambo Radio. And then that then evolved beyond, instead of me and you just sharing our story, why don't we get amazing people to come share that story with us? And that was how it evolved to Moments with Sade and Enoch. It's just, we share some of our stories. I mean, while you were talking, I was interjecting and sharing some of mine as well. But more importantly, we bring amazing guests like you, different life stories, different experiences. Someone will get your story, they won't get Juliet's story. So that was how we got here. And then Juliet, I don't know what's your...
for me, why I became a part of BPU was...
I think it's the show. Is it not the show, or is it BPU?
No, I think she said...
Maybe I haven't answered the wrong question.
No, you answered the right question. Radio. So I think it was really radio.
Okay, so for radio, I'm learning from my Oga.
Yeah, but why did you decide to learn?
I think I just told her to do it.
So for me,
and then she said, "Okay, look, that's what you want me to do."
No, so for me, my dream is to be a business leader, right?
Okay.
And I believe that I have a voice that can encourage people. I have a voice that can, speak to people. So for me, this was just an opportunity to learn, to develop myself, and also to add value.
I like that though, because
quick one. I know you like that. Well, we are now in the last 2 minutes, so we have another tradition where tradition. So where our current guest leaves an advice for the next guest without necessarily knowing who they are. So our last guest, John Kasusula, said his advice for you. Paul Kasusula was, never get tired of being helpful to your community. And you know what's amazing about this? People usually get his spot on. So he didn't know you were the one coming.
Exactly.
That was just the advice he left behind. So you don't know who is coming next.
I don't know.
What advice do you have for our next guest?
Okay, so I actually had something I was going to share for anyone.
That's fine as well. Yep.
So for the next person who is coming, I just want them to know that what they do is important.
This is actually perfect for the next person.
What they do is important, and the world is counting on them. So
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll just quickly wrap up what I've picked up from convention today. You intentionally sought help along the way. You remembered your why. Your why is one of your driving factor. You decided enough is enough. I want to make a change. You decided that. You watched your circle. After a while, you started removing some people from your circle, thinking, these people are bad energy. You have your cheerleader, at least one, and you said we should recognize that we matter. I think that's really powerful, right? So on that note, thank you for joining us. Remember, you matter. It's been another exciting episode here on Moments with Sade and Enoch. Thank you, Eloho, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you, guys.
And until next time, guys, take care. Bye.